All right, let's talk about the Catholic Church's liturgical calendar. It's this incredibly rich tapestry of holy days throughout the year. But, and this is the interesting part, not all of those holy days are created equal. So what exactly sets the really big ones apart from the others?
I mean, you've probably felt it, right? Why does Easter feel just massive, so much bigger than, say, the feast day of an apostle? How come one day commands are full attention, while another might just get a quick mention at Mass? Well, it's not random at all. There's this beautiful, really deliberate structure behind it all, and today we're going to break it down.
Okay, so first up, let's look at this hierarchy of holy days. And yeah, you heard that right. The Church actually ranks sacred time, and it's all about helping us focus on what's most important. The easiest way to picture it is like a pyramid. Right at the very top, you've got the absolute cornerstones of our faith. Then, as you move down the levels, you celebrate other really significant but different moments and people. This whole structure is designed to guide the spiritual life of the Church all year long. So here's that pyramid, the basic structure. At the very peak, we have what are called solemnities. Right below that, you've got feasts, and then under that, memorials. Now, for our purposes today, we're really going to zoom in on those top two, solemnities and feasts, because the differences between them are actually pretty fascinating.
All right, let's start at the absolute top of that pyramid. We're talking about the peak, the big ones, solemnities. These are the true cornerstones of our faith.
Yeah, solemnities are the absolute heavy hitters, and they're at the highest rank for a reason. They celebrate the central mysteries of our faith, the non-negotiable, foundational truths and events that basically define what it even means to be a Christian.
And just look at the examples. You'll see exactly how significant these are. We're talking about the biggest of the big. Christmas, celebrating the Incarnation, and of course Easter, the resurrection. But solemnities aren't just for events. They also include core beliefs, like the Immaculate Conception, and saints who are universally important to the whole Church, like Saint Joseph or Saints Peter and Paul. These are, without a doubt, the pillars of the entire liturgical year.
Okay, so moving down from the peak, we get to the next step, feasts. If solemnities are the absolute top of our pyramid, what's this next level all about? Now, don't get me wrong, feasts are still incredibly important celebrations, but they honor events, saints, or aspects of the faith that, well, while they're definitely significant, they just don't carry that same foundational, doctrinal weight that a solemnity does. Think of them as enriching the calendar, drawing our attention to other really key parts of the salvation story.
And again, the examples here really help make the distinction clear. We celebrate things like the Transfiguration of the Lord, a really profound moment in Jesus' ministry. We honor key figures like the apostles, someone like St. Thomas or the archangels. All of these are absolutely worthy of a major celebration, a feast. But you can kind of see how they serve to complement the core mysteries that we celebrate on solemnities.
So, we've got our two top tiers, solemnities and feasts. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's how these theological differences actually play out in the practical, day-to-day liturgical life of the Church. And trust me, the differences are super clear and very intentional.
When you boil it all down, it's really this. Solemnities focus on the very engine of our salvation. We're talking the Incarnation, the Resurrection, the Holy Trinity. Feasts, on the other hand, celebrate the important events and people within that bigger salvation story. And that one key theological difference is what directly shapes how we celebrate them at Mass.
And this little chart just makes it crystal clear. So look, at Mass, both solemnities and feasts get the Gloria, that awesome, joyful hymn of praise. But then notice the creed, the profession of our core beliefs? We say it on solemnities, but not on feasts. And why is that? Well, it's because solemnities are celebrating those very beliefs we state in the creed. It makes perfect sense. And then you see other differences, like the number of readings and the presence of a vigil, that special evening prayer the night before, which really marks a solemnity as a major event, a lot like a Sunday.
So just like we saw in that chart, a solemnity is structured to feel just like a Sunday. That means it gets 3 scripture readings, one from the Old Testament, one from the epistles in the New Testament, and then the Gospel. It's the full liturgical meal, so to speak.
A feast, on the other hand, usually only has 2 readings, a first reading and the Gospel. It's still a big deal, a major celebration for sure, but the liturgy is intentionally just a little bit simpler, and that's to reflect its different rank in the hierarchy.
So that brings up a really good question. Why even have this pyramid? right? Why not just celebrate everything at the same level of intensity? Well, the answer has everything to do with the spiritual rhythm that this structure creates for all of us.
And that right there really gets to the heart of it all. This whole hierarchy, it's not about making some days less important. Not at all. It's about creating a balanced, intentional rhythm for our worship. It makes sure that we give the absolute greatest focus to the core mysteries of our faith, while still being able to joyfully honor all the saints and events that surround them. It's a beautiful rhythm that guides us through the year and helps draw us deeper and deeper into the whole story of salvation.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. This whole idea of creating a hierarchy of importance, this rhythm of celebration and reflection, it doesn't just have to apply to the church calendar, does it? So here's a question for you. How could creating a similar kind of structure, learning to distinguish between what's truly foundational and what's important but secondary, how could that shape the meaning in our own lives, in our families, or in our communities?